These are the solutions for the first practice quiz for quiz 3, the first trimester. So again, this is some labor-intensive material beyond the first page, so get ready to check your work and follow your steps. Because of that, I'm going to put only half the problems, the number of them, on the quiz. So you'll see half of these. Solutions for 1 and 2. So you are square rooting both sides. And then solving those. So add 2, and that gives you -8. Add 2, and that gives you 12. Equals. On 2, you see a little bit of fraction work. So the top will give you -3/7. Add 2/7 to both sides. And the bottom, add 2/7 would be 7/7, which is 1. 3 and 4, isolate the step in which you complete the square. So complete the square by finding actually just b over 2. Oh, I guess that's right. You do b over 2 first, then you square it. A bit confusing there. So 8 over 2 is 4, and then we square 4, and that's 16. So that's what gets added there. Now this doesn't have, so this is sticking on the left-hand side. So typically what we would do is we would add 16 here and to whatever is on the other side. So this is just isolating this work. So 5 over 2, that's 2.5, and then we're going to square 2.5, and that is 6.25. So that's what you add to both sides. Here it's just one side, and then x plus 2.5 squared. So we're kind of just sticking to one side with this to emphasize that work on the left-hand side. Okay, and the next page begins your work with completing the square. So again, I'm putting half of these on the quiz just because this is a lot to do, but you need to practice a lot to get ready for the quiz. So step 1 on number 5 is to subtract 15 to the right. And then we're going to divide -8 by 2, and we're going to square that. And that's going to be 16. So this left side will be x minus 4 squared, and then the right side, adding 16 to both sides here, will be equal to 1. So we have x minus 4 equals -1, x minus 4 equals 1. So 3, it looks like, add 4, 3 and 5. And that is correct. Problem 6, you got to divide everything by 2. And then begin your work. So x squared, take 24 over to the right, divide 11 by 2. That's 5.5, and then we're going to square that. And that squared is 30.25. So 30.25 is what gets added to both sides. So the left becomes x plus 5.5 squared. And the right is 24, 6.25. So square root both sides. -2.5 and +2.5. So subtract 5.5, that's -8. Subtract 5.5 on the bottom, and that is -3. So these ones are a little simpler. The next page gets quite a bit more difficult. All right, so taking standard form into vertex form. The steps are very similar. Okay, we'd subtract 5 as the first step, making sure that the coefficient on x squared is 1. And so we're going to divide -4 by 2, and then we're going to square that. And that 4 gets added in to both sides. I really should be doing that first. So y minus 1 equals x minus 2 squared. So that minus 2 goes exactly in there. And then we're going to just add 1 to both sides. So this becomes x minus 2 squared plus 1. Pretty simple. Same thing here. Get 56 over to the left. Take 14 over 2. And then we want to square 7. So 49 is what gets added in to both sides. So -56 plus 49, that is -7, and then this becomes x plus 7 squared. So add 7 to both sides. Okay, so taking us to the page where there's a little bit more work to do. All the same work. But the solutions will not be nearly as nice. So -0.5, then we want to square that. So wait a minute here, I'm getting tired. So 0.25, positive 0.25. So that's what gets added to both sides. And then the left is x minus 0.5 squared equals -15 plus 0.25. So we have, first time this has happened. Notice the -14.75. This is a no solution. You cannot take the square root of that. And I want to say this, just because it's a no solution on the practice quiz on this one does not mean that's going to happen on the test. So what happened is this ended up being negative. And you can't take the square root of a negative. Problem 10, divide by 6 everywhere. And take, at the same time, the -5 to the right. That becomes a +5, and then divide it out by 6. So we're going to divide 13 over 6 by 2. That's 13 over 12. And then we're going to square 13 over 12. Some incredibly awkward values. So we're adding 169 over 144 in to both sides. 6 plus 169 over 144. So 289 over 144. Maybe I'll make it give someone extra credit if they can figure out how to get that advertisement. I know there's pop-up blockers, but I don't have time to figure that stuff out. So x plus 13/2 equals -17 over 12. X plus 13/12, excuse me, equals +17 over 12. So top one, -30 over 12, is -5 over 2 reduced. And then the bottom one, 4 over 12, is 1/3. So again, you may have to use a calculator to do that subtracting on to figure that out. Problem 11. So first thing we want to do is divide by -1. Plus 6x plus 17, and then subtract 17 over. So we want to divide the 6 by 2, that's 3, and then we want to square 3, that's 9. So on this side, we have x plus 3 squared. I always like doing that first, and I shouldn't. I should show the plus 9 back here. So y over -1 minus 8. So add 8. And now we want to multiply everything by -1. So what it's going to do is it's going to put a negative in front of both the x plus 3 squared and the 8. Okay, problem 12, we want to divide by 2. So x squared plus 2x plus 5.5. And then we want to subtract over the 5.5. So take the b over 2, square 1, we get 1. So this side is x plus 1 squared. And then we want to add 1, that second one, stay focused on that. So y over 2 minus 4.5. So y over 2 equals x plus 1 squared plus 4.5. And now multiply everything by 2, so the 2 goes in front, and the 4.5 by 2, which gives you 9. So if you like a lot of algebra steps, that's what this page is about. Again, half the problems. Okay, and now to speed this up, we want to go back and factor these. So we just need to figure out, I think, -8 and -3, and then this one was -5/2 and 1/3. So x plus 8 times x plus 3 with a common factor of 2. And by the way, this is our first spiral. What's spiral? It's a separate grade. So you need to take these problems seriously. This is a separate grade from your quiz, and it's going to go in a separate bin. And so the rest of the year, we're going to have these spiral problems. So 2x plus 5 and 3x minus 1. Remember, it's the denominator times x, and then opposite sign, and then comes the numerator. And then don't forget to check for a common factor. So 2x times 3x is 6x squared. X times x is not 2x squared, so there must be a 2 in front. Okay, that was pretty long, but you need lots of practice with this. This is the first quiz. I'll do a video for the third one.